Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. This is your hostess and friendly neighborhood mama bird speaking, MK Wizard, though you may call me Mary. This is another discussion video of which I wanted to talk about what I've come to realize is the real problem in modern entertainment, specifically in entertainment aimed at grown-ups. And what helped me realize it was the other day when I was baking just for fun, and these are the fruits of my labor, chocolate cupcakes. Yes, I love to bake in my spare time as well as draw and take walks and things like that. But whenever I'm feeling especially stressed or down, my way of touching grass is touching dough. But, anyways, as I was doing it, it made me think and realize what the problem with modern entertainment is in when it's aimed for adults. And in order to get what I'm trying to say before I say it, let me use a little analogy here inspired by what I made before you. Suppose you're going to a bakery and you put in an order for a chocolate cupcake. You paid for a chocolate cupcake. You were promised a chocolate cupcake. And even on the box, it says you're getting a chocolate cupcake. But then you open it up and then you see that instead of getting a chocolate cupcake, you get broccoli. You're shocked. You're confused. And your first thought is, stay calm. This is probably either a joke or a misunderstanding. You go to the counter, you say, "Excuse me, but I got broccoli and I ordered chocolate cake." And the cashier says, "Oh, we're well aware. We just always really intended to give you broccoli." Again, you're confused and you're asking yourself and even out loud to the cashier, "But I asked for chocolate cake. I paid for chocolate cake, and you said you'd give me chocolate cake." And then the cashier is just like saying, "No, no, we just said that to bait you into getting something from us. We always intended to get you chocolate cake." And then you argue your point, which is actually very valid, in saying, "Look, I paid with money, and I don't like being lied to, used, or tricked. Either give me my money back or give me a chocolate cake like you promised." And instead of the cashier, the bakery, having decency and telling you, "No, you're right. We shouldn't have done this. We're sorry. Next time we'll be honest in our advertising, even if it's intended for you to promote healthy eating." Instead, they get mad at you and say, "It's people like you who are the reason why obesity is such a problem in North America. Don't you value your health? Don't you value healthy eating? You are a terrible person for not liking the delicious, healthy broccoli I gave you." And what do you do after you're treated like that? Well, the same thing anybody would. You never go back to that bakery again. And I suppose you're wondering, what does this metaphorical situation have to do with the media industry? Well, everything. It's because when you go to a bakery, you don't go there to get broccoli. And it's not that there's something wrong with broccoli. Broccoli is good. Sometimes even I eat it just because I want to. But that's not what you're going to a bakery for. Just like you don't go to Chanel to get a plain, unremarkable pair of jogging pants. And you don't go to the arcade to read books. And you don't go to a theme park to do study group or homework or office work. And you don't go to a furniture store to purchase a lazy boy chair to be given a fitness program. It's not that there's something wrong with what you're alternatively being offered. There's nothing wrong with all of the above. All of the above are very wholesome, very good things. But the problem is that that's not what you're going there at that environment, at that setting, at that time to do or to get. And that's the problem with modern day storytelling, specifically for adults. It's not that there's something wrong with what we are getting, which recently is a lot of angst, a lot of drama, a lot of darkness, a lot of shock value, and most notably, a lot of our heroes failing or becoming progressively bad people, a lot of iconic couples breaking up, a lot of a lot of this sense of despair and a lot of cynicism in that no matter how good you are, it's all for nothing and it's all going to come crashing down. It's all something is always going to happen, so why bother? And you know what? At the risk of sounding a little shocking myself, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that form of storytelling. That form of storytelling is a release. And sometimes you need to see that kind of stuff just to realize, well, maybe put in perspective how good you have it. But the problem is that there's a problem when all entertainment is like that, even when it shouldn't be. For example, you don't watch Superman or read a Superman comic to see Lex Luthor leave, like Lex Luthor win, and above all else to see Lois Lane leave Clark Kent for some guy who, above all else, is not only like a not so great a guy, but outright toxic and quite possibly Lex Luthor himself. Just as you don't watch the Transformers to see the Decepticons win, you don't see you don't watch a Disney movie to get unhappily ever after, and you don't. Well, I think you know what I'm getting at. I think enough of the examples. The point is that even when the movie, comic, or TV series is aimed at adults, some shows, some mediums are not there to be angsty or dramatic or dark. And even if you do want to make them just a little bit dark, like going back to Transformers, you got War for Cybertron, which was a pretty dark series, but it did it right in just the right amount of dark chocolate, so to say, that everything did not become too bitter to swallow, in which case you just are asking yourself, why are you watching something that makes you depressed and shocked and wonder, do these people even really like Transformers? That story was good and balanced, and even though it was sad, it was positive enough to leave you with this feeling of hope that there is light at the end of that very dark tunnel. And you know what? Why does a show for adults have to be dramatic at all? What's wrong with having a show be kind of serious, be aimed at adults, have action, have challenges, and be happy? Sometimes that is what people are going to the show to watch. They're expecting something fun, something lighthearted, something that takes them away from the angst of the world, to see the good be rewarded, the couple work it out and be happily ever after, to see the bad guy punished and be held accountable for their actions. But you know what? We're not getting it all the time. Instead, we're getting stuff we did not expect. We are getting showcasing of characters we did not were not promised, and we are getting these messages, these talking points that, well, I'm going to put it politely as possible because I do think it's okay to have entertainment that does draw attention to important talking points and important issues that make you stop and think that maybe you were all wrong about something. The point is that for some stories, for some environments, and for some tales, that's not the time and place for them. And some characters are not the best, well, role models for those types of talking points. And also, I can confirm as an adult myself, I don't always want to see realism in my fiction, even the fiction that's aimed at me. It's why one show that was an ironic breath of fresh air for me was a movie that played on Apple TV, The Gorge. It was fantastical. It was exaggerated. And it was kind of dark too, in a sense, but in the sense like it felt like a video game that gave you a sense of reward for beating the bad guy. I really recommend it if you haven't seen it yet. Of course, like I said, it's for grown-ups. Don't watch it if you're a little kid, and don't try to sneak watch it. I don't want you to get in trouble with your parents. The point is that that's just it. Sometimes I don't want to be reminded of the problem of the world. I want to see made up fictional problems that I would never have to deal with in the real world get solved then and there in the story. Another good example of levity in our storytelling is the main character of the Pirates of the Caribbean series, uh, Jack Sparrow, or, pardon me, Captain Jack Sparrow. He is the most unrealistic character you can think of. He feels cartoonish. He's an exaggeration. You are never going to meet a guy like him in real life. But I love him for it. The fact that he can be such a sneaky little trickster, yet at the same time be one with a heart of gold who has a strict code of ethics that he will never break, and that there are certain lines he will not cross, and even he knows that that no amount of gold is losing certain parts of your dignity for. I love that. And it's the same thing with a lot of other main characters who you can argue in the past were too saintly. They're fictional characters. That was the point of them. They were supposed to be saintly. They were supposed to represent the best that we can be, because even adults need an escape, and adults need to be inspired every now and then. They need to be happy every now and then. They need to be, how can I say it? They need to be indulged. And I feel that that is the real problem with the modern industry nowadays. Everything is way too serious and way too dark, way too, this is the real world, sucker. But it's not the real world. You're a TV show. You're fictional. You're not supposed to be that serious. You're not supposed to be abiding by real world rules. I mean, it's why in Star Trek we have an array of aliens and it takes place in the future and not in present day. I mean, I'm sorry, that's just the point. At one point, you have to ask yourself this: if it's absurd to treat real life like it's fictional, is it not absurd to bring realism into fiction, even when it's aimed at adults? Well, I think so. And I think and really do abide by the fact that this is the problem with the modern entertainment industry, specifically aimed at adults. We have forgotten that adults are not perpetually miserable. Adults laugh, adults play, adults wonder, Adults like to imagine, they like to role play, hence why in video games like World of Warcraft, a large majority of the customers are, in fact, adults, some of which are even married with kids. Adults still believe in love. Adults dream. Adults still have life goals. Adults believe in standing up to evil and that good can conquer evil. And you know what? If you're going to bring any shred of realism into adult media, bring those parts in for when the time and place is right for it. Let's see more of that. And not just in the ridiculous, over the top dramedies or romantic comedies, which can get a little too immature, but that's a discussion for another day, if at all. Bring it in situations like going back to the superheroes, like Superman, letting him be the hero who saves the day and have his cake and eat it too, in the sense that he's also able to have a loving wife and Lois Lane. They're able to raise children together who grow up to be well-adjusted, good kids. Or in the case of Spider-Man, make it the main storyline that he does grow up, get a stable job, get his life together, and gets Mary Jane. I mean, give us that already. Stop teasing us and yanking our chains, people. Don't always make the hero perpetually miserable. Don't always punish good deeds. Don't always say that no matter how hard things get, it's always going to go crashing down. Because you know what? It's not. Happiness does last if you maintain it. Promote that message instead. Make more stories again that were like they were for adult media in the 80s, very late 70s, like Murder, She Wrote, Heart to Heart, which actually was about it was an action romance where the main characters were a couple and they were very much in love. They had amazing chemistry together, and that was their secret weapon when it came to winning the day in Heart to Heart. Mr. and Mrs. Hart were partners and equals. They had respect for each other, and despite the challenges they would face again and again, they stayed close, they stayed affectionate, warm, and unbreakable. Let's see more adult media like that shows that even in your adult life, good can conquer evil, because it does. Instead of always saying that drama will inevitably break you and that life is just one big, well, I won't say on that on TV. I'm just not that kind of girl. Point is that I think you get what I mean. And here's one last bit of food for thought about the fact that sometimes even stories that have the theme of levity in them, and yet will still deal with serious topics. You can have a serious topic be addressed and lighthearted storytelling, and for it to be done in a way that it doesn't break the story or break the theme or break any of the characters. Some tragic events actually bring people closer together. Some tragic events, in a very strange way, make people better in the sense that it makes them stop and think about their life choices and motivates them to kick themselves in the pants to become better people. I mean, think of Vegeta in Dragon Ball. After he lost everything from being a villain, he started to finally go on a path towards redemption and stuck to it and became progressively better. Another good example of that is in sitcoms when there was a character death and the death was permanent. People didn't say, yes, people did cry, they mourned, but eventually they did move on from it. I mean, that was kind of the whole basis of another sitcom, the original Full House, where Mrs. Tanner, the story literally opens up with Mrs. Tanner having recently died. The story did deal with death, and it was a loss that was always there, always permanent, and sometimes, yes, it did acknowledge that the pain of losing somebody is always going to be there, but it didn't break people. It did make the characters somewhat relatable, and it did acknowledge that, yes, this is something that's going to hurt no matter what you do, but you are not alone, and you will get better again. You will find love again, and you will come to a point where you can think about that person who is now with the good Lord. It's joy. So, yeah, that's my final piece of food for thought. Does drama always have to end in everybody getting broken? No, it really doesn't. But, anyways, that's all I have to say for today. I want to know what you all think in the comments section. Do you think I have a point? Do you think it's something else too? And if it is, by all means, let me know in the comments section. Anyway, that's all I have for today. I wish you all a very good day. Dress a bit warmly because it seems to be getting a bit have that stretch of cold left in the season before spring finally does return. Stay safe and stay healthy. And if you wish to support my work, please subscribe to my channel and be sure to follow my Linktree link on the on my profile page to find my comics, my art, and of course my Ko-fi if you wish to support me with a commission, a one-off coffee, or even become a full-time member. Every little bit counts, every form of support, and every kind gesture helps me. So thank you in advance. Love you all. Goodbye.